Hey you, welcome back to Mick. It's your favourite Aussie tea drinker, Jack here, giving you some more stories on the internet. 3 stories for you today, some funny, some a bit ridiculous, and some sort of dreadful. Regardless, leave your thoughts on each one down below, and sit back, relax, and enjoy. Our first story by Dead and Dug Up. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad off, or for making me uncomfortable? I'm 17 and have been spending less time at school and more time at home recently due to the pandemic. And a side effect of doing so is that I'm spending more time with my parents and having to get used to working around each other. I also recently hurt my ankle, so I'm limping a little. This becomes relevant later. A few days ago, my dad came into the kitchen as I was already in there, carrying a folded envelope that he intended to recycle. As he approached me, I bent down to grab something from a lower cupboard. Normally I would squat, but I can't because of my ankle. And he thought it'd be funny to swat me on the butt with the envelope. Well, to me, this is not funny. So I stood up, took the envelope from his hands, and told him off as though he were a toddler. I said, "No, that's not appropriate behavior. We don't do that," etc. Then placed it in the bin myself and told him that this wasn't a joke. You should never do something like that, and that if he'd done it in the workplace, then he would get fired. He told me I was being ridiculous and dramatic, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I was taught that you don't touch people when I was a baby, and he's nearly 50. So the idea that he thinks it's okay to tap someone on the butt, his teenage daughter nonetheless, is absurd. It seems I'm the only person in my family who thinks this way though. Having spoken to my sister, she told me it was normal for people at her work to do so if you're bending over, and that I'm just being overdramatic. I have this sinking feeling that if I don't call him out now, then it'll continue. It doesn't really matter at home. It made me uncomfortable, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. But what if he does it in public? Or even worse, in the workplace? His job is prestigious, and he's pretty well known. So something like this could cause a massive scandal and a lot of fuss. I just don't want him to get us all into trouble because he doesn't understand that you can't just do that to people. Tell me, honestly, am I the a-hole? So, is it appropriate for a father to smack their teenage daughter on the butt as a joke? Or am I really simplifying and, as a result, dismissing the legitimacy of this woman's uncomfort? Well, discomfort. I know words. Some say, everyone sucks here. Perfectly okay to tell your dad don't do that to you, ever. You don't like it. But speaking to him like he's a toddler? Give me a break. You want to be treated like an adult? Act like an adult. No, you're both fine. This seems like fairly normal horseplay amongst family members. Well, you're absolutely right that it would, or should, be unacceptable in the workplace. So I don't know why your sister disagrees, but at home amongst family, it's fairly normal. Wow! You suck! You're the type of person whose behavior belittles real victims and real issues. You're the a-hole for way more than what it's in this page. Like, okay, I know that it's completely fine to be uncomfortable and express that, but god damn, man, this whole story just makes my blood boil. Like the dummies who use #MeToo for getting catcalled. It's not to say that any of it's okay, only you can decide how you feel, but that stuff really hurt the movement and belittled the real issues. It sounds like this sort of behavior is extremely concerning to the OP, and you can honestly tell that she's doing this out of fear for the, I guess, career of her father. But at the same time, I feel that's the fault in her argument here. Like, she is really jumping to conclusions about her father's behavior. Like, there is a big difference between the implied consent between your family members and just a random co-worker that you may have shared a banter with at one point. I don't think she's wrong to have expressed her discomfort with her father doing that, but I think her reasons and assumptions about her father's behavior that, if left unchecked, could only escalate worse is very, very overdramatic. But of course, she knows her father more than we do, so she may actually have a stronger point than we think. But regardless, I think you still both have faults in your behavior here, so I have to say everyone sucks here. He definitely shouldn't have smacked your butt without real consent being clear in the past, but you did not need to communicate in such a way that is punishing your father for simply trying to bond with you via horseplay. It's commonly hard enough for fathers to feel connected to their children, especially with daughters. But I guess physically harassing them even as a joke doesn't exactly help their case. Our next story by Axa69. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner to grow up and stop being jealous of my dog? Bit of backstory. So I have had my dog since he was old enough to adopt, 3.5 years now, and all his documents are in my name, such as his pet insurance. This is where the problem occurred. I've been with my partner for almost 2 years, and she is honestly great. We have talked about our future together, and we both are on the same page about everything. Apart from one thing, marriage. She is very into the idea of us being married, so we are a family all together. Whereas my response was, marriage has never really mattered to me. I don't need a piece of paper to say I love you, but if it's something you have your heart set on, I will consider it in the future. Well, my dog's insurance documents came in the post recently, as they do every year as an update, and she saw that he has the same last name as me. It was required he have my surname as his owner. And she blew up. Started a full-blown argument on how the dog has my last name, and she doesn't. And after her ranting and raving for around 20 minutes, I just told her to grow up and stop being pathetic. He needed it as a requirement, and I wasn't going to have him uninsured, which, well, she got upset about, so my question is, am I the a-hole for telling her to grow up? Even though I've said I'll consider marriage in the future, I just feel it's way too soon now. What do people say? Not the a-hole. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but this post made me laugh hard. It's important for you guys to be on the same page, re-marriage, or at least have a compromise you can live with, but to get bent out of shape because you've given your name your dog is just too absurd. No, you're the a-hole. Her being upset feels like it has nothing to do with the dog, and everything with the fact that she feels like you won't commit to her. In my opinion, when only one person in a relationship thinks that marriage is a construct and only matters on paper, and it matters a great deal to the other partner, it usually has something to do with one partner not wanting to be tied down, or wanting an easy out if they split. Again, that is my personal opinion. Now, this story is actually quite split across the board. A lot of people think that the argument that the partner is making is ridiculous and just so stupid, getting upset because the dog has a last name before them. While others, such as the previous commenter, are saying yatta, basically just judging this person for not being ready for marriage. Which, personally, I think is absurd. You should never have to be into marriage just because your partner is ready and keen for it. But I also think if you're not ready for marriage, but they are, you have no right to keep them around. Like, you should not be surprised at all if they get tired of waiting and just get off with someone else. But to the point of the story, why you are asking us if you're the a-hole, I'm gonna say, and I know I'm probably gonna get flack for this, but you are the a-hole. Now look, let me just say my reasoning. It is very clear that your partner has made a stupid argument. Like, it is so much beyond decent reasoning that it's clear this is a purely emotional response. Now, if this wasn't someone you loved, if it was just someone you just respect as a friend or an acquaintance, etc., you have every right to brush him off for giving you such a pathetic argument to have to be a part of. But this is your girlfriend, someone that you should be at some point developing the interest to be with permanently in the future. And right now was a good test of your resolution skills in regards to conflict. You had a great opportunity to prove how good you are at listening to your partner's qualms and pain. Clearly, she is feeling insecure, and likely based off your previous discussions about marriage, maybe feeling like you actually aren't too keen on them. And so seeing your dog's last name just makes her feel further alienated from your priorities. Now, is it still a sound argument? Oh, hell no. But you treated her like an idiot. And I feel like if you were truly so keen on her as you claim to be, since you don't need a paper for it, I feel like you would have had the sensibility to notice when she's clearly just going far off the handle handle than needs to be. I know I say often that you should understand but not excuse behavior, but we need to be aware of how we not excuse behavior. Sometimes it can turn into complete dismissal, such as what has occurred here. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. For now, let's go to our next story. Now, this one is a bit of a dark one. Am I the a-hole for outing my husband to my family? Please forgive my mistakes. My language is not English. I'm a 21-year-old female, and my husband, who's 36, are in the middle of divorce. We have been married for years. The reason of our divorce was that my husband found letters that my girlfriend had written to me before my husband and I were married. We have an arranged marriage. It is usual in our country. My girlfriend and I dated secretly because, well, our homosexuality is very illegal in our country. When my family arranged our marriage, I stopped dating my girlfriend, and we have not talked to each other since that day. I have been a good wife since. I don't know about you, but that sentence is really heartbreaking. I know I should not have kept the letters that she wrote to me, but they were one of the only things I loved that I owned. I hid them well, but somehow my husband found them out. He was very angry at me. I begged him to forgive me, but he said that I would get what I deserve. He told my family that I was a lesbian, and that was why I had not been able to have our children. My family was very angry at me, and my husband left me to stay with his best friend at his house in another city. When he left, he also left the letters. He had hidden them, but very badly. I found them and burned them. My mother called and told me that my father and my uncles would be coming over to talk to me about what is happening. Honor killings happen in my country sometimes if the wife commits adultery or shames her family. I was scared that my father and uncles were going to hurt me. When my father and uncles came to my house, he was very angry. He told me that he knew I was a lesbian, and that was why I had not given him grandchildren. I am an only child, and this is a very important thing to my family. I acted that I did not know what he was saying, and if this was true, then why did my friend, or my girlfriend, have so many children? When my uncle asked me why my husband would lie about such a thing, I started crying and said that I thought my husband was a homosexual and that the friend he was staying with was his boyfriend. There was a total change of their mood. They stopped glaring and yelling at me and started quietly talking with themselves. My uncles checked our closet, where my husband had hidden the letters. He must have told them where. And when they found nothing there, they started asking more questions about my husband and his friend. I again lied and said they often spent the night together at his friend's house and left me alone. They got very angry again, but this time they were angry at my husband, not me. My father actually hugged me and told me everything would be okay. He has not done this since I was a little girl. I was very relieved that my family was not angry at me, but now I am very worried. I am scared they will hurt my husband and his friend now instead. One of my uncles threatened to. Did I do wrong? I do not think I can tell them the truth now. They would be even more angry. I do not have anyone to talk to about this, not even my girlfriend. Am I the a-hole? Should I tell the truth? It's a story that definitely seems to be above the pay grade of this sub, but nonetheless, let's see what the average white Westerner thinks of this situation. So here's the big issue with what you posted. All your husband needs to do is prove that he's not in a relationship with his friend, and when he does that, you may be double screwed, because now they have another reason to come for you. Honestly, everyone sucks here, but you really need to find a way out of wherever you are. Just run off and don't look back. Honestly, the only a-hole here is the religion or culture of your country, because without that, this situation wouldn't have arisen. These are basically the opinions of everyone in the comments. Most are saying not the a-hole for a very understandable reason. This woman is literally trying to survive. Like, not just the bad people that are toxic, emotionally draining. It's like literally her life on the line here. Seriously, if anyone has a AITA opinion right now, I would love to know your excuse. I know it can be kind of racist in a way to say it, but fuck this culture. On a lighter note, it is time to end this episode. I hope you had a good time. Again, still in the shorter form for now, both because I'm busier with other projects and also seeing if this can help me be more consistent with the uploads. But still, please keep giving me that feedback. I love knowing what's working for you. So for now, if things are nice and crispy, clear, good, then please leave a like on the video. Otherwise, for now, I shall say my farewells. My name has been Jack. You've been a lovely person to ramble at today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!